This is Semperfi 1918, and you are watching a video. And what you're listening to at the moment was the Imperials live record. Oh, just a short little clippage. But I do want to say this. Vinyl records are making a comeback and making it big, and I'm going to tell you why. First and foremost, when you think about it, here's a prime example of a score that I got yesterday. And yeah, I paid, money for it, quite a bit for it. But I paid for it because this right here is an original 1973 Pink Floyd record. Yeah, sure, the cover's just got a little bit of minor damage, and there is one tiny little scratch on it, but it plays all the way through. But I do want to say the reason why I paid for it is because that's one of those few that you just got to have for your record collection. But I also want to say the other thing too is some of these older stereo systems, and I ended up getting another one for free. It's the Magnavox Mini, which I got to pull apart, clean it up, and then put it back together, and it should work fine. Because I talked to several people, and they said, well, sometimes they just get hard. The material that they used for the lubrication back in the day is like cosmoline in your rifles that we get from, that we were getting from Russia. Over time, it gets hard and crusty, and so then it's just not cool. But anyways, so you pull it apart, clean it up, and put it back together, and it should run fine. Now, what I like about that is the fact that, how old are these things? I got a couple of record players. The one that you're just listening to is a regular Magnavox. Yeah, it's a short table, side table. But it also comes with the radio, and it also comes with the 8-track player. Do I have any 8-tracks? No, not yet. Because I want to find out if it works. And if it works, then I'm going to buy some 8-tracks to go with it, just to have for nostalgia of certain few of them that I would be looking for, like Leonard Skinner and things of that nature. But needless to say, I have probably about 500 records right now, give or take, plus or minus of the good ones. And yeah, since I bought out a few folks, there's a few of them in there that are floaters that are just garbage, broken, shattered, whatever. Because I'd get them as in a whole collection, and well, unfortunately, this is what happens sometimes. And I don't like that. But what can you do? What can you say? Sometimes it is what it is. So that one I might just use as a display piece and say, hey, you need to be more careful of what you do with the records and be careful with them. And yeah, I got some 78s, I got some 45s, I got a lot of 33s. But to bring the point back home is this. I love to listen to vinyl for two reasons. One, when you got a nice clean record and you got a nice clean needle and a decent speaker system, to me, sounds better than the radio, even better than the radio in my car, believe it or not. Sounds better than streaming. It sounds better to me than CDs that I put on. I don't know, it's just some people prefer one or the other. My stepdad James, he prefers CDs. Probably because the size they are, it's easier for them to handle and all that stuff, and easier to store. That's fine, that's okay. In fact, I got several CDs myself, but I haven't listened to them because the only player that I have for it right now is my computer. Well, my computer wants me to upload this and download that and pay for this just to listen to CDs that I actually own. And I'm like, why am I paying to download or upload something that I could be able to listen to a music or movies? Same thing with movies. That's why I got VHS, and I probably will end up getting a VHS player soon, just to have some of these older movies so I can watch a few older movies. And I'm gonna get an older movie player so that way I can listen to some of the stuff. But needless to say, I'm looking at the other side of the house. I love the fact that you can hold a record in your hands. You physically hold it. You physically look at the record. You wipe it off nice and clean. You stick it on there and you go to listen to it. And then you pay attention to the music. And let me tell you, when I was listening to the Pink Floyd yesterday, wow. That was just such an experience. It almost brought tears to my eyes just listening to it because it brought back memories. Not so much that me and my dad sat and listened to Pink Floyd growing up, but the fact that growing up, going up to the cabin, there was two things that we listened to. Rock and roll on the way up, or old school rock and roll, as we call it these days, which would be from the 60s and the 70s and at the new time, 80s and early 90s. But then when we got up there, we also listened to country. Well, yeah, sure. You're saying, well, why would you care about Pink Floyd if you got country? Well, here's the thing. Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon is one of the only records that I recognize and I know every single song on both sides of the record. So that's another reason why it brings back memories. And you say, well, how old are you? Well, I may be old, 37, so I ended up becoming on the end side of the other side of the growing up. Where, yeah, we did have a record player, but we really didn't use it. And the only record player that I recall actually seeing was the one my grandpa had in his basement that we'd listen to every Christmas. And the favorite album that I always listen to, granted there's a different one, but this will just give you a pointer, is this guy right here. Now, Christmas with the Chipmunks, well, there's a different record. So this one has certain songs on there, but then you got the other, there's a different edition that I'm looking for, which I do have the record, which plays all the way through, but there again, it scratched the crap, and I want to find one that's actually in decent shape and order. But it's Alvin and the Chipmunks, Christmas special. All I want for Christmas is my two front teeth. I grew up listening to that one every Christmas. That's the only Christmas album I ever care for and ever would want. But there again, that brings back memories. Now you say, well, why should I worry about this old crap and, worry about getting the new stuff? Well, sure, that's fine and dandy, but the 70s record player I got for free. Right across the street from my neighbor, because I told him, hey, I'll give you $10 for that if it don't sell. Well, his mom's like, nope, just take it. I was like, okay. So he helped me move it over here, and guess what? That's what we did. And all I gotta say is, wow. And when the speakers go, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna replace them with better speakers. It's got output, input, it's got bass, it's got treble, it's got, I can move the speakers. It's got a button, or not a button, well, I suppose you can call it a button, I guess. Anyways, but you move it left to right, going for one side or the other for the speakers. So it's got one big huge speaker on each side and then two little small ones going on the other sides. For a total of, let's see, that's quite a bit. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think like there's 6 or 10 speakers total. And it's got its own tweeter. But I say that all to say this. Sometimes older is better. Just like classic cars. Yeah, they may break down, and they may be they may cost a lot of money to fix sometimes. But depending on what car it is and what parts there are, if it's rare or not, good or bad, you got to do the research. And for me, I didn't necessarily do the research to buy the Magnavox because I ended up getting it for free. But there again, when I got the first one, which is an actual old school record player, it's got everything in it. It has the needle, it has the speakers, it's got the arm, and it plays from 16s to 33s to 45s and 78s. Yeah, I paid $40 for it, but there again, I was able to start listening to my records. That was when I first had probably about 20 records at the time. Well, the second one I got for free, and the third one I got for free. Which, by the way, it's a Magnavox Mini. And so, that third one, yeah, it's got a little chip in the paint on the top, and like I said, I got to pull it apart, clean it up, and get it running again. But the nice thing about it is, as you're listening to it, I can't even go past 4.5. I can't even get up to 5 on some of the records because having it that loud, just you can't hear both sides of it. And I'm like, well, man, if I get that sucker up to 10, oh my gosh, that's gonna be pretty crazy and pretty nuts. But yeah, the craze is coming back, and it's coming back for good. And I love it, and I like it. Enough ranting on that one. But as I always say, hit the like button, subscribe, share, and stay prepared. Simplify 1918 out.